In this video, we're checking out some of the cool old school stuff that showed up at the Collector Car Appreciation Day at Coker Tire and Honest Charley. This is an annual event. It's always held in July. It's always hot. It's always in the middle of the day on a Friday, but some really cool stuff shows up, and I wanted to show you some of my favorites here. Now this is one cool hot rod. This is a 32 Ford Roadster. You can see it's bare metal, but it has a lot of cool lettering, including the number 48 on the driver's side. If we go over here to the passenger side, it's got the number 58. This car is called double exposure because of the two different identities. The 48 signifies the founding year of Honest Charley Speed Shop, and the 58 signifies the founding year of Coker Tire Company. This car has a supercharged flathead and all sorts of cool hot rod parts, and it sits on a set of Firestone dirt track tires. Up next is a really cool 55 Chevy, and I love a good 55 Chevy two-door post. These things make great hot rods, and this one has been a hot rod since 1962. It's got Mallory ignition, a Sun tack, Stewart Warner green line gauges, all sorts of really neat period correct pieces, and the chrome valve covers came from Honest Charley Speed Shop in Chattanooga. The previous owner, Thomas Wallace, put this thing together. It's got a 301 cubic inch small block, M21 Muncie 4-speed. Now the paint might look a little rough to you guys, but to me this is the perfect old school hot rod. It's got a great looking stance. It's got a set of American Racing 200S wheels that are very nicely detailed. You'll see it doesn't have a front bumper on it. This thing is just an old school hot rod. This little Roadster sits super low to the ground, but my favorite part of this whole thing is the front end because it looks like it came straight out of a 1960s front engine dragster. It's a chrome tube axle. You can see it's got a little drop in it, but you'll also see the little spoke front wheels and little tiny tires like what you'd see on an old dragster. Now here's a pretty neat gasser. This is a 35 Chevrolet Coupe. You can see it's got the brightest red paint you can imagine. Krager SS wheels, little skinnies on the front, big ones on the back with big fat tires. I don't know a lot about the engine combination, but it sounded pretty healthy when it came in. Speaking of healthy, take a look at this 34 Ford 3-window coupe. This thing's got huge Mickey Thompson tires on the back, and then look at that big block, big wine blower, two big 4-barrel carburetors. And if we take a closer look at this engine combination, it's not just for show. It's all aluminum. It's an aluminum headed, aluminum block, big block. This is a serious combination. It sounded good, it looked cool, and you gotta love those wheelie bars sticking way out the back. This is just a radical pro street build that takes me back to the 90s. And now for something a little more subdued, a 64 Chevrolet Biscayne two-door post, but here's my favorite part, a 409 with two 4s under the hood of this plain Jane, stripped down base model car. That's what I'm talking about. This is a cool sleeper. You got dog dish caps, painted steel wheels, nothing fancy, but what you do have is an extremely rare accessory air conditioning system on this car. You don't see many 409s with an air conditioner, and this one is set up just right. Here's one for the Mopar guys. Here is a super clean Little Red Express truck. These things have a cult following, and really everybody loves seeing them because they're just unusual little sport pickup trucks that came out in the 70s. Check out the pipes, the wood in the bed. I mean, these things had a lot of cool details from the factory, and this one looks pretty much flawless. You can see that wood bed in there is in great shape. This is a really neat truck, and Zach Chapman brought it out for everybody to look at. I'm really loving the stance on this 55 Chevy. This belongs to Shannon Medley, and he drives this car all over the Southeast. You can see the paint is starting to flake a little bit here. It's got some cool patina, but what I really love about it is the black wheels, dog dish caps, and the perfect hot rod stance. First generation Monte Carlos don't get nearly enough attention, and there were two immaculate examples at this cruise-in. The first one I'm going to show you is super slick. Check out the black paint, the good stance, billet wheels, and then look under the hood of this thing. Big block with everything you can imagine. Power brakes, power steering, air conditioning, every option in the book. This thing is super clean, and he probably put that air conditioning to use on this hot day. The other immaculate Monte Carlo belongs to Jeremy Wooten, and he drove down from Cleveland, Tennessee. Now this thing doesn't have a big block, but look how clean it is under the hood. I mean, this is better than original. And it's also fully loaded with options. You'll see it's got air conditioning as well. And check out that blue paint, the weld wheels, the stance. I mean, this thing looks super good. Mike Drennan joined the fun in his 32 Ford Roadster. This thing is just cool and clean. It's flat black, American racing wheels, small block Chevy, just a simple and neat hot rod. Speaking of hot rods, check out this Flame T-Bucket Roadster. This thing's got a cool stance, cool flame job, good running small block Chevy, some dirt track tires on the back. I mean, it's got a lot of great elements, and the cool part to me is that this is a tribute car to the Mike Goodman T-Bucket, which traveled the country in the 1970s, going to rod runs all over the place. There's so many stories connected to that Mike Goodman car, and this little car does a great job of paying tribute to that. Now this is what I like to see, a ratty green Nova with dog dish caps. That's like my favorite. But look at this. This is actually a hatchback car. You don't see many of these things floating around. But as we go around to the inside, we got 3 pedals and a little stick poking up out of the hump there. And let's look under the hood. We've got a Blueprint Engines crate motor, aluminum headed small block. You can see it's got headers, aluminum intake, big 4-barrel, and aluminum radiator. And just look at this thing. It's got a cool old school look, and I bet you it's surprisingly quick. This is a 64 Corvette coupe. You can see it's got an L88 style hood scoop. It's got a small block in there with air conditioning. A lot of people got air conditioning on this hot summer day, but check out the back side of this car. This car's got some big tires, big rally wheels that have been widened in the back. It's got 6 tail lights. But let's take a look underneath this thing because it has a very odd setup. This is actually a narrowed, independent rear suspension. So a lot of times if you see a tubbed Corvette, it's going to have a 9-inch Ford or 12-bolt or Dana 60, and this thing's actually got a cut down and narrowed IRS system from a 64 Corvette. It's a very unique setup. All right, here we go. This is my favorite car that showed up at the Coker Cruise-In, and he drove it from a long ways away. He's up close to Byrdstown, Tennessee, which is about a 2.5-hour drive, and he drove this chopped and channeled 32 Ford Roadster all that way just to come hang out with us for the day. And this thing has got some really cool history. First of all, check out the stance on this thing. It is deeply channeled, and you'll see that he's got a custom floor pan and seat situation so that he can fit into this thing. And then right there in front of him is a 59 AB 24 stud flathead V8. It's got some cool speed parts on it, including a Navarro intake manifold with 2 2-barrel carburetors. This thing's got headers, it's got all the right stuff, and he switched it over to 12 volts so that it would be a little more dependable out on the road. But otherwise, this thing is true to the 1950s. In fact, this thing hasn't been driven since one quick rip around the block in 1964. This car belongs to Brian Berger, and the cool thing about it to me is that it belonged to his Uncle Jim from 1964 and beyond. And his Uncle Jim got in a little bit of trouble with this car. He and a friend got this thing running in 1964, ripped it up and down the neighborhood street, got the cops called on them, and they were told to never touch it again. Well, as it turned out, Uncle Jim got his hands on this car, and he owned it from 1964 on, but he never did drive it again. He never got all the parts together. He never made this thing functional on the road again. So Brian has put all the pieces together and made this thing roadworthy, and he did the ultimate road test to come down to this Cruise-In. But it's got so many cool pieces in it. It's got some 40 Ford style steel wheels on it, bi-sply tires, you know, it's all old school. And that AR on the door, it stands for A Roadster, that was on this car all these years. He actually washed and sanded off some white paint that had been put on this car, and underneath it was that AR designation and some of this other really cool patina. But overall, this thing is very solid. It's got some really cool pieces, and one of my favorite parts of this car is the rear end. You can see that it's got a quick change back here, but this is not a Halabrand, it's not a Franklin or a Winters or anything like that. This is more like a homemade piece. So it's got a factory style center section with this very plain looking aluminum rear piece. This is just a cool piece of hot rod history. I'm so glad that he's out driving this thing. He drove it 5 hours total round trip, and it's just a cool old hot rod. I hope you enjoyed checking out some of the cars and trucks from the Coker Tire Cruise In during Collector Car Appreciation Day. Thank you for watching.